I'd like to talk about shopping for insurance. In my job as an insurance agent who specializes in working with nonprofit organizations, I have a lot of nonprofit clients. I network with a lot of nonprofit organizations. I go to conferences and I make a lot of cold calls. I don't enjoy them all that much, but it's just part of the job. And so I find myself speaking with a lot of CEOs, executive directors, finance directors, or CFOs. And one thing I hear very frequently is that, we're set. We've got a great agent and he shops for us every single year. And that's the part I'd like to talk about, that shopping every single year. Or the other thing I hear is, we go through an RFP every few years. And this really kind of addresses that too. In years past, shopping every year or using an RFP, reaching out to multiple agents every once in a while to shop on your behalf, or giving anyone that says they can save you money an opportunity was not as detrimental of an approach as it has turned into. The insurance carriers that work with nonprofits are already fairly limited. They have been for a while, and they're becoming more limited through this challenging time in the insurance industry. And what a lot of people don't know or don't realize because their agent hasn't communicated it to them, or maybe their agent doesn't know either, is that every carrier who's ever received a submission for your organization has a detailed log of all those times that the submission was received, what the outcome was, and what came along with that submission. We work with a third-party data and analytics firm that surveyed thousands of underwriters, hundreds of insurance carriers, and they found that 75% of submissions are incomplete. They were missing an application. They were missing loss runs. There wasn't enough there to provide a quote. And you might wonder why someone would send a submission in if there's not enough there to provide a quote. And, there's plenty of reasons, both good and bad. But what that third party we work with found is that more often than not, those submissions were to either A, block the market so other agents couldn't access it, or B, so that the agent could come back to their client and say, hey, we sent your submission out to all these different carriers. We still feel as if, you're with the best carrier, because they either know that you're with the best carrier for you, or they don't want to take the time and energy to really make sure of that. So because there's a detailed record and 75% of submissions are incomplete, there's a chance that when either your existing agent or another agent that might not represent you right now goes and sends in a full submission, if that carrier could look in their log and see that, they've received 5, 6, 7 submissions over the last decade and they were not complete and didn't really provide them with an opportunity to win your business, the underwriter's probably not going to take that submission seriously. It's not going to be at the top of their stack of submissions to work on. And part of that is because their time is very, very full of working with their clients and all the submissions they're receiving. Insurance carriers were not immune to some of the staffing issues that COVID-19 brought on to just about every business out there. A lot of the seasoned and experienced underwriters have left the industry, retired, or moved into more management positions. And so we have a lot more underwriters who are newer, more, or less experienced in underwriting. And I'm not saying they're bad at their job or not good underwriters, but they're also being asked to do a lot more in the name of efficiency. Most insurance carriers, or a lot of them anyway, are publicly traded or backed by private equity. So they're beholden to their investors or their shareholders. And so efficiency is the name of the game when that's the case. So they're going to prioritize the submissions they receive where they think they have the best opportunity to win the business. So if your agent is telling you they shop for you every single year, I would question that, because it's not a great approach. If you are using RFPs every 3 to 5 years, I would question that approach as well. And I've made some blog posts and as well as a video about that'll be coming out soon. It's really not as advantageous to regularly shop or regularly look for new agents as it used to be. Insurance agents are partially to blame for conditioning people like yourself into believing that that's the best model. But think about this. When you bought your house or your organization is looking at buying new buildings, are you going to 3 real estate agents and saying, bring us your best properties? Or are you finding that one agent who you think is going to represent you the best, who's going to negotiate on your behalf most effectively, and who's going to understand your needs and not waste your time bringing you options that aren't worth considering to begin with? Insurance should be viewed similarly to real estate, just in that way. You want to find an agent who you trust, who you feel understands your organization and will represent your organization in the best way to insurance carriers. Because if they can do that, they're more than likely also going to be able to help you navigate a challenging time like we're in right now much more effectively than an agent who, won your business by bringing you the cheapest quote and might only talk to you once or twice a year, because that's really how the agency model works for a lot of companies out there. So if you have any questions about shopping for insurance, or you want to, go through what your process looks like and how it could be improved, let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to help, regardless of whether or not you interview me to be your broker. I want to help you be a more informed and more educated buyer of insurance, because that's going to pay dividends in the long run.